in May of 2027, which would be nearly the 30% mark of the original plea agreement. That is not a vote and not a vote. The other board members may will review your case, and then each vote administratively and the required number of votes are reached. Once those required number of votes are reached, you'll be notified if it grants or not vote. Thank you all for that. This evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, folks, if you are watching, you have just seen Shara Wright, a plea to get parole early. The Tennessee State, the State Parole Board has denied parole for Shara Wright, saying, you know, it's quite interesting. We had several witnesses for her and after and against her. He said, we will deny your parole due to the seriousness of the crime. He said it's a, quote, near abomination that you're up for parole in such a short time. Shara Wright pleaded guilty to facilitation to commit murder of her ex-husband, Lorenzen Wright. She was arrested in 2017. He was killed in 2010. She pleaded guilty in 2019, and she's only been in prison since that guilty plea for less than 3 years, with time served still less than 5. This is notable as well. The State Parole Board, Barrett Rich, he's a native of Fayette County, but he's the one that we've been hearing from and doing the questioning in this parole board hearing. He said they don't want to see her again until 2027 for another parole hearing, and that would be when she served about 9 years. And that's more in line with what the sentencing guidelines were after she made that guilty plea. It's been quite something to watch, because remember, Shara Wright pleaded guilty, made the plea deal. We never had a trial, so we never heard a lot of the facts that she was saying today. Let me start back in my notes. She began by saying, the parole board said, what led to this murder? She said it started with the divorce. It started with Lorenzen Wright's drug use. She said they owed great amounts of money. And then at some point she said that she feared for her children's life and for her life because they owed so much money, and that's how she said it began. Did she say that she was guilty of any of this? She said indirectly. She later said at the very end, when the parole board said, can you give us a reason why you should be granted early parole? And I've got so many notes here. She said, I'm sorry for what happened. She said, I'm sorry my kids lost their father. She said, he was the love of my life. Tearful testimony. She also said, I did what I did because I was scared. You know, we are showing you both in Memphis, at a parole board, folks are listening and testifying that she should not be allowed to go free. And of course that, you know, her parole was denied. We had people in Nashville as well, where 2 of her children spoke, asking that their mother be granted early parole. She said she had lined up transitional housing in Nashville. The lady who runs that said she thought she would be a good candidate to move on. But the bottom line is this: Shara Wright was denied parole. And according to the Tennessee Parole Board, she will not come before them again until 2027, May of 2027. So that's what's been happening right now. Tell you what we're going to do. We are going to wrap this up, and then we're going to take a quick break and start with our midday program with more on this and hopefully some more live interviews. But a fascinating hour or so of our time watching as Shara Wright was up for parole. It was denied by the State Parole Board.